are in the program or who are graduating, we appreciate your presence here at our commencement. So to you guys, congratulations. This is a very big deal. This represents years and years and years and years of work. And know that we feel that you guys all have a firm footing to move forward to this next phase of your life, because if you weren't, if we didn't feel that, then you wouldn't be up here on the stage right now. So congratulations to everybody. Then I know that I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating. You know, we've started calling this the commencement instead of the graduation, because we're really talking about what happens after, right? This isn't the final part of your recovery process. This is the start. This is the point at which tomorrow you wake up and you don't have most of us on you anymore, forcing you to do stuff. Now is the time, starting tonight, starting tomorrow, when the foundation you've had a chance to build through all of this is what's going to carry you forward with your own motivation to keep moving forward in your recovery-oriented lifestyle. So, this is the beginning, this isn't the end of a thing. But remember too that you can't do this, you can do this by yourself, but it's going to be a lot harder than doing it with the support of people that you have in your corner. So remember that even though you're not forced to go see us anymore, for the most part, we're still there. All of the team members still believe in you and still want to be in your corner, as well as all the folks that are here. All of the family and friends and loved ones who are here to support you as you start your journey, not in your journey. So keep in mind, rely on each other, rely on your supports, rely on the rooms if that's been a piece of your journey. And keep in mind the fact that it's a lot harder to do it on your own. So, thank you for being here. We appreciate you honoring all of the hard work that all of these folks have put into this. And I just wanted to introduce the team and then we can get started. So first off, of course, we have Judge Yost, the Common Pleas Judge. Sitting next to him is Magistrate Regazione, and then Marie Lane, the Head Public Defender, and then Deidre Fleming from Lake Area Recovery Center, Nick Irochi, the County Prosecuting Attorney, and Stephanie Belconis, the Coordinator, and then Zach Winting from Adult Probation is over there, and we have a couple missing members tonight as well. Judge Yost?
All right, Matt, thank you very much. I do want to also extend my welcome and appreciation for all of those of you who are here. As he said, some of you are required to be here, but we know there are family members of the persons graduating tonight. We know there are other persons who have been affiliated with the drug court that continue to be supportive of the program. They come back, and perhaps just friends of someone who is either participating or graduating. So we're really happy that you are here tonight. This is probably what you might say is the happiest part of the drug court program, because people have been able to make it through all of the requirements, fulfill all of their obligations in order to successfully get through this program. It's a recognition of that, and as Matt has also said, it's our hope when we say a commencement that they will go forward from here and be able to implement practices that they learned in the drug court to continue to lead, I guess I should say successful for lack of a better word, but hopefully sober and productive lives. I'm looking around and I usually like to just avoid introducing people because that way I don't leave anyone out. But supportive have been the judges, and my colleague Judge Harris, I see is seated right over there. I think he's been to every graduation that I know of. Judge Harris. Also seated with him is Judge DiGiacomo from the Ashtabula Municipal Court, who is many of you may know is running her own drug court at the municipal court level, and seated next to her is Kathy Casputis, who is the coordinator of the drug court program in the Ashtabula Municipal Court. And I also want to take a moment to recognize Vince Godoni from the Northwest Ambulance District, who has, I think, been to every single graduation, has been very, very supportive of what we're trying to do here with the drug court. And I really appreciate his presence here. Some of you may have actually had firsthand experience with his department. but the first responders, they come out, they're called out on overdose cases. I mean, they are the ones that are seeing firsthand what this horrible addiction can do to people. So those of you who are families thinking nobody else gets it or nobody else knows what you're living through, they've seen some of the worst of the worst, and he continues to come here along with his staff to try to support what we're doing to try to help improve the lives of the people in the program, and through that also improve our community in general. Thank you for being here. One of the things I guess that was on my list, I think is the point to do this, would be to just briefly run through the program. I guess I was going to do that first. I don't know that I have any general announcements for people. I just have a few general comments. But we've taken to, every time we do this, to shorten this up more and more. The persons that are in the program probably understand it pretty well, and persons who are not in the program may not really be that interested. But there's two really important tracks. There's the diversion track and the post-conviction track. A person who is a diversion applicant they're in the position, upon successful completion of the program, of having their case completely dismissed and sealed. Now, in order to get into the diversion track, you have to meet statutory criteria that is the same as what the legislature has created for intervention in lieu of conviction. By assuming that the charge itself falls within that criteria and that the offender otherwise meets that criteria, the additional criteria for drug court is that you must score on a risk measurement tool that has been developed by the state of Ohio as a high risk to reoffend, and in your substance abuse assessment also show that there is a high level of need, again, in order to adequately deal with the level of substance abuse. So that's the general criteria for drug court, but as I say, for those persons, they actually have a very significant opportunity to have a charge dismissed, and when it's sealed, it's basically as if it never occurred. The second track for post-conviction is for persons who would not otherwise be eligible for diversion, persons possibly, well, not eligible means there could be charges that would not qualify under intervention because of the serious nature of the charge or other factors, or the person may already be on community control and is facing a possible probation violation proceeding, and if they appear that they could benefit from drug court, they may apply to get into the program as a post-conviction participant. In that case, the successful completion of drug court becomes an additional condition of probation or community control, and then upon completion, the person will have fulfilled basically conditions of community control. Now, as you can see at the bottom of this slide, there's three basic key things that go on in drug court. The number one most important reason that drug court exists is to be able to provide an intensive level of substance abuse treatment and close monitoring of persons who are in treatment. But in addition, obviously, maybe I shouldn't say obviously, but over the life of drug courts, which actually started in the mid-1990s, there's been a real recognition that many people who are abusing various types of substances also have mental health needs that can be either interrelated with the substance abuse or maybe even driving the substance abuse. So persons who are in drug court who also indicate through an assessment that there may be mental health needs also then will have mental health treatment incorporated as part of the treatment plan that they will be required to comply with. Now, I'll give a little plug here to the mental health court. Up until last year, we had a drug court, but we didn't have a mental health court. But my colleague, Judge Shizan, has started a separate specialized docket specifically for mental health. The difference is, in the mental health court, the diagnosis of mental health has to be the primary issue or the primary concern. Some of these people may also have substance abuse needs, but the difference is in drug court, the diagnosis indicates substance abuse is the primary concern. For the mental health court, mental health is the primary concern. So people we have in drug court obviously are going to be different. They're not going to be participants in mental health on that docket. But I think it's a real benefit again to our community that the court system itself is trying to develop more and more resources to adequately deal with some of the problems that all of you know some of you are having. And then, of course, the last thing is the monitoring by the probation department and the court. So again, it is at an intensive level. Usually starts off a minimum of weekly, and as someone progresses through the program, they may report less often. But those are the big three components of what happens while a person is in the drug court program. The only other thing I want to say before we start, because I think the reason most of you are here tonight is to see and support the persons that are graduating, but also it has become a tradition of the drug court program to ask them to speak. But we have a little ways to go before we get there. I do want to tell you, though, that I personally, as drug court judge, and we talk about this as the team each week when we meet to discuss the cases of the participants, we work really hard to be objective in our evaluation of persons and their progress in the program. The program is evidence-based, as we say, which means we want it to be based on evidence. We don't want to make decisions based on rumor and gossip, and we want to use techniques that we believe have already been shown to be effective. So we do work hard at doing that. So the focus in drug court is whether the participant is complying with drug court requirements. And the people that are here tonight have had to satisfy a lot of requirements to get to where they are. But again, my focus is whether they are doing what they are required to do in terms of drug court. That's the key. So each person who's here tonight has completed all of the treatment requirements that have been imposed. They also have met a minimum of 90 days sobriety. That in some ways that may not seem like a lot, because you're going to see that there's a lot of people here tonight who have had long periods of sobriety. But we count sobriety from the time they may have a positive test for anything. So that even includes alcohol. Alcohol is not an illegal substance in our society, but it's something that a drug court participant is not permitted to use. And if we detect that somebody's used alcohol, then that's a dirty urine, that's a dirty test. They start all over again with considering their sobriety date. But to graduate, it's a minimum of 90 days with no positive tests. And finally, that the person has had no sanction within 30 days of the graduation date. So that means basically starting from the last day of October, the person must be able to get through the final 30 days without any type of sanction being received in the program. Stephanie has put together slides that you will be seeing as we go through each individual, and those slides will contain pertinent information about each individual, perhaps some of the most important things. But one of the other things that we started doing with the last graduation that we are continuing now are photographs, before and after photographs, I call them. So you're going to see a picture of probably the booking photograph when the person was first arrested or charged, and then you're going to see a current photograph that was taken that shows what they look like today. And I think just in the photographs themselves, you can really see what a difference a sober lifestyle makes and what it can do for a person. And hopefully it will become an inspiration for everyone else to say, you know, I can do that too. So I want to thank all of you who agreed to allow us to use photographs before and after, because I think it is an important part of reflecting what we're trying to do here, and again, the progress that these people have made. That's really all that I have to say. I know there's many people here tonight who are participants that I'll be seeing next Thursday, so we'll have some things to talk about with you individually, and then for people that may be reporting bi-weekly or tri-weekly, you get to start counting, I guess, from today. Before we actually, were you planning to introduce the speaker, or should I just go on? I'll just keep rambling. Before we actually get to the point of the graduation itself and hearing from the individual graduates, it is a real pleasure for me to introduce the speaker we have tonight. It's another tradition that we do have someone come to address these graduating, I shouldn't say graduating, these candidates who are commencing and about to complete this commencement and enter upon the next phase of their recovery. But he is a graduate of the drug court program. and he's somebody that did very well. Well, eventually came to the point where he did very well in getting through the drug court program and continues to do very well. And I think that he's going to have some things to share, not just with the persons that you see up here on the stage, but with everyone in the room who's a participant, to share about his own experience and things that may be valuable and helpful and even inspirational to you. So at this time, again, it is a pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Ben Sedmak.
My name is Ben Sedmak. I'm an alcoholic, drug addict. I graduated drug court in March of 2017 this year. I began drug court in September of 2015, and I went through a 18-month-long process of just consistently doing the right thing, and we should give these guys a round of applause because, that just speaks to what they've accomplished here. I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking, Barry and my fiance Heather, she said it to me this week when we were talking about this. Life is lived forward and understood backwards. And as I sit up here, as I went through the process of drug court, when I started out, I look out in the audience today and I have my mother's out here, my daughter, my fiance, and all these brothers and friends that are here with me today. The first time that I came into a drug court, to something that was in, the whole process of drug court, nobody was there with me, and just, so what drug court has done for me is that it's allowed me to build relationships, relationships with my family, relationships with my friends, There's a guy on stage tonight that, I started sponsoring him while I was in the drug court process, and it's just been an honor to kind of watch him grow and go through this whole process and just watch recovery go on between him and his family. It's just been a beautiful thing. Drug court for me, it just, I didn't have a relationship with God when I began this process, and through the drug court process, we have to go to meetings, and I started getting involved in a 12-step fellowship, and I was able to build a relationship with God through this process, and that is the best thing that I got out of drug court was a relationship with God today that I did not have when I began this process. When I started out, I'm sleeping at the beach occasionally. I'm sleeping on friends' houses, going from couch to couch. I ended up going into a treatment center and living in a three-quarter house for 9 months, doing the rehab centers and the three-quarter houses. To today, we just got a 3-bedroom apartment. Me and my fiance, her daughter just moved in with us here in the last week. And my last Thanksgiving, 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, I'm sitting in a treatment center, just broken, bewildered as to how I'd gotten there. And last year was a little bit better. I got to spend Thanksgiving with my fiance. We got an apartment together. We're living in a 1-bedroom, one-room apartment. We did get to see the kids a little bit, but they didn't spend Thanksgiving with us. And then this year on Thanksgiving, man, my fiance got to have her daughter come and stay with us for the first time. She got to stay with her in 5 years, and that was just a beautiful thing to be a part of. I had my daughter there. She had her son there. We had the kids, and families just being rebuilt, and it's just a beautiful thing to be a part of. And I'd like to thank these guys up here on stage. Maybe we should give them a round of applause as well. These guys, they just love and service from these guys up here on the stage. They don't really have any experience with this thing, but they just wholeheartedly just give themselves to this thing. And if you just consistently continue doing the right thing, these guys will go to bat for you. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Congratulations, guys.
So I think we're at the point that everyone's been waiting for, and that is to be able to hear from each one of these individuals that are up here at this time. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'll call your names individually, will go in the order that you see their names in the program. And then there will be, as I mentioned, a slide that behind them that will give you some pertinent information about them. But it is a tradition that we ask each one of them to say a few words, whatever's on their heart and their mind that they might want to share. But, I'm usually looking to get some feedback about how they're reacting to the program, but whatever it is that they feel that they'd like to be able to share about this experience. And then for your information, what I'd like to have you do is just come along in front of the team here, because everybody would like the opportunity to shake your hand and congratulate you. And of course, there's a few mementos of this experience that we'll give you, but also some very important documentation that we'll be looking forward to getting. So when you do come up, I'm going to ask you to use this microphone and make sure everybody out there can hear what you have to say. So we're going to start with Kelsey Blankenship.
I'd like to thank the drug court team and my parents, my little brother, definitely my daughter. She's helped me stay sober through all this.
Congratulations here while I get this coin. All right, I just handed off some responsibilities to Stephanie Balcones, who I think all of you know is the drug court coordinator.
Hi everybody, I'm Don Henry, obviously. I want to thank the drug court team. I want to thank the people at large. I want to thank Jason and Joanne, she's not here, and Michael Murphy, for always being there for me and believing in me and helping me make the right decision when really deep down I didn't want to. I've been in drug court for a long time. It had its ups and downs, but overall it helped me to stay sober. It helped me to be more accountable. Even though, like, they sent me to NeoCap because of my actions, you know, and I didn't want to go at first, but I think I made the right decision, and I think they made the right decision for placing me there. When people hear drug court, they think it's a bad thing, but in real reality, it helps you. It's not just a program that wants to punish you. It's a program that wants to help you and put you on the right track to get you where you need to be in life. It helped me to grow as a woman and as a mother. I want to thank my sister. She's out there. She made a point to be here for me. You know, we go through a lot of things at home, but at the end of the day, that's my sister, and she just wants me to do the right thing and be a mother, you know, and realize that I'm beautiful and that I have the potential to be wherever it is that I want to be in life. I would also want to thank Kai for being my support system, even though sometimes I don't want to hear what she has to say because she's always being on point and never beating around the bush with me. And I also want to thank the judges, Judge Yost, and Cezanne for allowing me to be in this process and believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. And also I want to thank the rest of the drug court team. And Dia as well, because she was rooting for me.
Each person gets a certificate that memorializes this. There's also coins that people get as they go through the program. All right, Dan Nines.
I'd like to say a big thanks to the drug court team for giving me the opportunity to be in this program. I'd like to thank everybody working at LARC, everybody at Turning Point, all my friends and family that's been with me through this process. it. Thank you.
You probably all noticed this already too, but on each one of the slides at the very top, it gives the date. That's the date that they were officially admitted into drug court. All right, Stephanie Brunty.
I just want to thank the whole drug court team. I want to thank Dia especially because she's always there. I want to thank Zach because I know I've called him with some pretty crazy things. I want to thank my family. I have all my kids here and my adopted kids. They're not really adopted. I just love them. Like they're my best friends here. And I want to thank Tasha because Tasha's always there when I needed her. Thank you.
Aaron Cook.
First, I want to congratulate everybody up here with me tonight. I want to thank all the drug court team for basically the opportunity. Everybody at Lark, and biggest, I want to thank all you guys, my family. I love you guys. You guys supported me through all this.
It's kind of crazy I'm up here. Horrible. I want to thank everybody on the drug court team. Dia, I mean, you came this whole way with me, you didn't give up on me. I mean, even when I was going to get switched over, you still stayed with me. And I greatly appreciated that. Jason, where are you at? Jason, right there, my man. Jesse, guys that got me around when I couldn't get myself around. My family. I mean, my family that supported me through this whole thing. My higher power. Without him, I probably would not be here today. I would not be here. My support group. You know, this is a process. And there was a lot of times in it, you know, I nubbed up on drug court a lot. And, you know, I wanted to be right about things. And, you know, 4 months ago, I kind of came to grips with, like, they're not out to get us. They're out to help us. And I started, you know, doing things a little different. I started taking people's advice, you know, working, you know, with the program instead of against it. And, you know, I've gotten a lot out of this program. And, you know, there was times like when I was in the program, like, you know, David reminded me a minute ago, like when we skateboarded in the rain, 3 miles just to get to class, just to get to our one-on-one sessions. And it was like stuff like that, it was just humbling for me. I mean, like I said, it was something. And, you know, I want to thank everybody for being here today. My family, my girl, everybody that's, you know, been through this process with me. I'm very grateful for it. Thank you.
Brandon Arnold.
You know, a lot of us would think we look good in addiction, right?
Right.
No, not happening. You know, like probably 90% of you out there are probably worried about what I'm going to say. But if, you know, in the beginning, I'd have nothing good to say about drugs, and I hated it. You know, it was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, honestly. You know, but when I look at that, it makes me realize where I came from, you know, and I owe a lot of that to drug court, because I wouldn't be here right now. You know, it wasn't easy, you know, but I mean, we can spend all that time in addiction doing what we want, you know, what's this? This is nothing. You know, I spent half my life doing the wrong thing. Doing the right thing really wasn't all that hard. You know, wow. But, you know, most of all, I want to thank my family, you know, my dad, my grandma and grandpa, you know, my mom, the one person that should have left me behind. She never left my side, you know. And my dad, so my dad's back there. You know, they're the two people that I did the dirtiest out of everybody, and here they are, you know. So I wouldn't have any of that if it weren't for my program in AA, and not just drug court. You know, I don't have that much time over my head, and I keep my felonies, you know, so I didn't really do this for drug court. I didn't do this for jail. I did this for me and for my family, you know, to better my life. You know, and once I started to want to do it for myself, it got a lot easier. You know, and I want to thank Lark and drug court, Dia, that man right there, Benny, my sponsor. He's done this. He's kept me sober when I couldn't do it on my own. You know, he did it for me. You know, it was a rough time. I've done everything in this 14 months, but relapse and recidify. You know, and I wouldn't be here without my program and without, you know, Jason. I owe my license, my first job out of Turning Point to that man right there. You know, he got my feet on the ground. You know, and when I left Turning Point, the Mayflower, that man Shay right there, he is one of the biggest people in my support system. You know, I don't know where I would be without that man and Jason and, you know, people at Lark. I don't know, I wouldn't be here, I'd be dead. You know, the last thing Harris said to me before I went to drug court, he said, you don't have to worry about coming in front of me again. You're not going to make it back to the courtroom. He was right. You know, and my amazing girlfriend, you know, the future mother of my child, you know, I wouldn't have any of that. I wouldn't have any of that if I wasn't sober, if I wasn't here right now. I owe so much to this program, you know, and the judge for putting up with me in the beginning. You know, he's had to send me to jail a few times, but he got the point across, you know. I straightened out, and I did the right thing, you know, and here I am. I never thought I'd be here, you know, I really didn't. You know, and I've accomplished more in the last year of this program than what I have my entire life. And you know, and it's just, it's an amazing thing. You know, and just looking at that just makes me sick. I know, it's crazy. But I don't know, thank everybody from the drug court team. I love all you guys, all the drug court, everybody else out there. And I love you guys, thank you.
Wow. I look terrible.
This is worse than mine.
I want to start off by thanking the drug court team for all you guys done for me. You know, I want to thank my family, everyone who supported me. I know I want to thank all you guys. Congratulations. You know, you guys supported me. Everyone else out there, all the other people in drug court. Thank you. Love you too. I don't know, that's all I got.
Patrick Tudor.
Congratulations to all these guys and all the guys that are still doing drug court. And when I first came to drug court, first thing they asked was, what's your main goal that you want to get out of this? And at the time, I just said that I wanted to find a new way to live. Probably at that time, I didn't realize what I had to go through to achieve that goal, but thanks to all these people and Judge Yost, they really helped me find out that it wasn't just using drugs and alcohol, it was what was going on in my head, and they really helped me through it. And thank you to all my friends, the new friends I've met through this process, and for my family for sticking with me through it all. So thank you.
David Russo.
Before I started this process, forgive me, this microphone makes me like really nervous. Before I started this process, I was living on the streets with absolutely nothing in my name besides a book bag and a skateboard. And like the worst part about it is I was completely okay with that. You know, I was comfortable walking around looking like that. Didn't even care. And you know, about 13 months later, I'm standing in front of you, you know, look at everything I've accomplished. You know, I don't know, man. I couldn't have done it alone, though, that's for sure. I want to thank my parents for, you know, just having my back and always being there. Just showing me tough love and always being there and never giving up hope on me. I want to thank both sets of my grandparents. You know, they've helped me out so much throughout all of this. I want to thank my girlfriend for just being supportive and, you know, sticking by my side. You know, that's and putting up with my bullshit. You know, that's not an easy one to do. I want to thank my support group and everybody over here, you know what I'm saying, for having my back and just, you know, having an open ear when I needed them. I want to thank the whole drug court team, and especially Dia. Dia, you've helped me out so much through this process. You know, even though criminal thinking and IOP was just polishing up on the skills I learned at NeoCap, you know, you were always teaching me something. You know, even in our one-on-one sessions, you know, you were very easy to talk to, but you remained professional. You know, and I really appreciate that. You've helped me out more than I can even describe to you. And with that, I'm done.
And we hope that you will stay around for a little while, again, to talk to these people individually and give them some individual congratulations. Again, thanks to all of you for being here today.